she does not come out. Jorgensen is the only one that comes out of the unit, and Manny is never seen again.
Prosecutors say they now believe Jorgensen dismembered her at the apartment and carried out her remains in various bags.
2 women had disappeared in St. Paul, Minnesota, in the span of 2 years. Both were in an abusive relationship with the same man. One wasn't reported missing because of her lifestyle, but a single call from a concerned parent launched a 2-month investigation by the local police department. Shockingly, the missing women were found deceased in 2 separate storage units, and the trail led back to the person they considered their boyfriend. Welcome to Seriously Criminal, a true crime channel where we cover unsolved crimes, chilling murders, mysterious disappearances, and more. My name is Amelia, and I am your host. On May 1st, 2023, St. Paul Police Department was contacted by the father of manager Strahan, also known as Manny. She was a 34-year-old mother of 3 who was very close to her family. They were in daily contact. He reported his daughter missing because the 2 last spoke on April 18th, and there had been no word from her since that date. The father remembered the call vividly because Strahan sounded scared and almost paranoid. Even though she avoided the subject, he was sure his daughter was afraid of her current boyfriend. Furthermore, Strahan struggled with drug addiction for years, but was willing to go to a drug treatment center by the end of April. Her family made all the necessary arrangements. Sadly, Strahan never showed up. While it was possible she simply decided not to go, her father was adamant Strahan wanted to get better for the sake of her kids. Law enforcement sprung into action right away and started their investigation by contacting Strahan's ex, who had custody of their son. Even though she had substance abuse and mental health issues, Strahan called her ex daily to check in on the boy. According to her ex, Strahan called him on April 21st, 2023. In the days before that last call, she lost her wallet, and her electronic benefit transfer card was used by someone, which made her stressed. During the same conversation, Strahan admitted she was in an abusive relationship, and the man she was seeing tried to strangle her with rope. Officers interviewed her neighbors in the apartment building at 7th Street East, and one of them confirmed Strahan had bruises around her neck and a black eye days before her disappearance. The neighbor offered to call the authorities, but Strahan refused. The building manager confirmed Strahan had been seeing a man named Joe, who often visited the woman in her apartment. He gave the officers his phone number, and they learned the name of Strahan's current boyfriend, Joseph Stephen Jorgensen. Luckily, Strahan's apartment building has surveillance cameras, and the footage provided the investigators with more information on her movement. The manager delivered the videos to the police, and the footage showed Strahan running out of her apartment on April 21st. Jorgensen caught up with her and pushed the young woman back inside. This incident happened around 6 p.m. That was the last time she was seen on surveillance. On the other hand, Jorgensen continued to go in and out of the apartment until April 28. The building manager confirmed Strahan only had 1 set of keys, which meant Jorgensen was using them. On April 28, Jorgensen was seen carrying 2 large bags from the apartment. He placed them in a pickup truck driven by his roommate and was never seen again on surveillance. Nobody else entered Strahan's apartment afterward. Now convinced that Strahan's apartment was a crime scene, an officer entered the property alongside the building manager. It was clear that the place was in disarray. The TV screen and the microwave door were broken, and there was glass on the floor. But the most chilling sight was Strahan's bedroom. The sheet had a large hole that was cut out by someone. Furthermore, the officer noticed tiny drops of blood by the bed. The state of the apartment made no sense to Strahan's family, who knew she was very neat, despite her mental health issues. On May 25, 2023, a forensic crime scene unit entered the apartment and found blood on the couch, living room floor, and kitchen. It was obvious that someone had tried to clean the space. The amount of blood confirmed that a person was murdered there. DNA analysis confirmed that the blood belonged to Strahan. Police obtained a warrant to track Jorgensen's Facebook activity, as well as his phone. They discovered several threatening messages sent to Strahan weeks before her disappearance. A warrant for Jorgensen's Google account was obtained shortly after, and he made some disturbing searches in April and May, such as jugular, line for soil, and what do police do with a missing persons report. All of this evidence was enough to search Jorgensen's residence at Century Avenue North in Maplewood and take him in for questioning. When police officers arrived at Jorgensen's apartment, the man ran to his bedroom and tried to set fire to the closet space. The SWAT team managed to overpower Jorgensen, and he was taken to the hospital.
When a SWAT team executed a search warrant in an apartment in Maplewood where Jorgensen had been staying, he fought with them, tried to set a closet on fire, and attempted to take an AK-47 from one of the officers.
Meanwhile, his roommate went to St. Paul Police Department to be questioned by investigators. Jorgensen's building manager spoke to the officers on the scene and said that the residents began complaining about the smell coming from Jorgensen's apartment sometime in mid-May. The manager entered the apartment on May 18th, but Jorgensen didn't allow him to enter the bedroom. He promised to clean the apartment. Several days later, the manager saw him carrying large duffel bags into the pickup truck, and the smell was gone. The Forensic Crime Scene Unit examined the apartment and found blood and maggots in the closet. It suggested a human body was stored there for at least 2 weeks. But what had Jorgensen done with it? The police decided to track his phone's location on May 18th, when he was seen with the bags and discovered he was near his storage in Woodbury. He rented a storage unit under a fake name weeks ago. The investigators found 2 padlock keys in Jorgensen's apartment, and now they needed a search warrant to check the storage unit, which they got instantly. As the officers approached Jorgensen's unit, they could smell a foul odor in the hallway. The storage space had 1 large and 1 small cooler covered in plastic. A duffel bag and a suitcase were next to the coolers. The Forensic Crime Scene Unit loaded the evidence into a vehicle and took them to the medical examiner's office. The medical examiner retrieved a human torso from the large cooler, a head from a smaller cooler, and arms and legs from the duffel bag. All the remains were wrapped in plastic.
We also cannot fathom the pain that the family is feeling at this point, but we do hope that this investigation's result will bring them some level of solace.
The remains were identified as manager Strahan through dental records. The cause of death is not yet revealed to the public, but the investigators believe that Jorgensen had dismembered Strahan in her apartment and then stored the remains at his place before moving them to the storage unit. On June 30th, 2023, Joseph Stephen Jorgensen was charged with 1 count of second-degree murder. He is scheduled to appear in court on August 21st, 2023. In mid-May, St. Paul Police Department was contacted by the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension Human Trafficking, who had received a tip regarding a missing woman named Fantasyavong. Savong vanished in July 2021, and one of her friends was concerned about her safety. Like Strahan, Savong struggled with substance abuse, and loved ones would often stop hearing from her. The friend decided to call the authorities because they believed she was trafficked. Savong was in an abusive relationship with no other than Joseph Jorgensen. Officers were already investigating 1 disappearance in which he was involved, and the circumstances sounded similar to what had happened to Strahan. It is not known how the police connected Jorgensen with a storage unit located in Coon Rapids, but they had a search warrant ready on July 6, 2023. After going through the storage unit located on University Avenue Northwest, the officers discovered human remains. The following day, the body was identified as the 33-year-old Fantasyavong. Jorgensen immediately became a person of interest, and the police searched his former residence, hoping to find forensic evidence. Investigators are still trying to learn more about Savong's murder. They don't have the date or the crime scene. Considering the nature of both murders, the police are not ruling out the possibility that Jorgensen has more victims and is connected to several other disappearances in the St. Paul area. The investigation is ongoing, and more information will probably be released in the following weeks. Let me know your thoughts about this heinous crime in the comments below, And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.